Hey, what's going on, guys? Just coming back to the YouTube channel today to just talk a little bit about myself and some of my accomplishments and things that I haven't accomplished in life. If you guys hear this music in the background, I don't own the rights to any of this music. Let me give you a little background about my life. I have 7 kids, 10 grandchildren, and I have children that range from the age of 35 through 10, believe it or not. Yeah, oops on the last one. I don't really mean that, but oops. I've always been around trucking my entire life. Don't ever remember not being around a truck, in a truck, doing something to a truck, or having conversations that wasn't about trucking. I spent 13 years in the United States Marine Corps, hoorah. And again, I've just always been around trucking. Those first few years of my life when I got out of high school, my dad wanted me to get in his other truck and drive his other truck. But, like any other kid, you want to chart your own path. And that was the path that I chose, was to serve my country for 13 years, in which, again, I should have just went ahead and did the last 7 and did my 20 and got my retirement package. But the call of that truck was calling me, man. And, although I was in the military, I still ran the truck as much as I possibly could with the help of my father, my uncle, and my grandfather. Fast forward to 1996 when I separated from the Marine Corps and I purchased me a Pete. And, man, I when I first got out, I signed on to a company. And I worked for them, no lie, for one whole day. I don't even think it was a day. I did a road test. And when I got done with the road test, they told me I was approved for my truck. I went and got my truck, man, and never looked back. I had one little put the truck down, as I say, back in '09 when fuel went up to $5 a gallon and nobody was paying enough to keep these trucks on the road. So I stopped driving for a year and went and drove for Greyhound for 1 year. And you know what, man? Us truck drivers don't have anything on those Greyhound bus drivers, man. Those guys work 7 days a week, 365 days a year, man. Listen, only time those guys get off is when their clock runs out or they run out of hours, man. They're just rolling and rolling. And I said, I thought I had it bad as a truck driver. You guys are trying to kill me. But, back into this trucking thing, man. It's just always been something that's been profitable to me, my family, my dad, my uncles, my grandfather. All of them have gone on and moved on, man. They've all passed, and I'm the last one standing. My boys, I have 5 boys, and none of them really are in the trucking. And, I got one son that's in college, and he's being looked at by a couple of NFL football teams. I have another son. He's a male nurse down in Woodbridge, Virginia. I have another son. Well, I guess he kind of say he drives trucks. He drives for Pepsi down in Atlanta. And my other 2 youngest sons, they're not old enough to drive yet. So it's something, man. It's really something to have all of this professional driving in your family, and then to think that it's going to end with me. Hopefully it won't, but that it's going to end with me. The way things are right now in the trucking industry, and the way, excuse the way my jacket looks. I was out there working on a truck and grease and all that crap got on me, so that's why I got all these stains all over my jacket. But the way things are in trucking right now, nobody really knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, the rates are what the rates are, and I've never, ever, ever seen anything like this before. And even when you call to try to book a load, it's like nobody's really interested in picking up the phone. So it's just like, it's ringing and ringing and then it's switched off and switched off. So again, man, for people that have big time truck payments, trailer payments, truck insurance, authority insurance, mortgages, college tuitions, and everything like that, man, hey, I feel your pain. I absolutely feel your pain. And I don't have the right answers for any of this, nor does anybody else. We're hoping that the country opens up, but as you look on the news and you see around where these places where they're opening up the country, you're starting to see that these people are being affected by this virus. And I'm just hoping and praying that it doesn't turn out to be something like here in my state, in the state of New Jersey, where, you have hundreds of people dying a day. I think yesterday was the lowest count. I think we had like 90 something people die yesterday. And that's the lowest it's been since this epidemic started almost 2.5 months ago. So we're on a downcline with this virus, and I'm just hoping and praying that it gets even lower, man, to the point where, yeah, we can open up some things. Yeah, you can keep your social distancing. Yeah, there are going to be things that will never come back. There will be things that's going to take a very long time to come back, because I don't know of anyone that want to go to a movie theater and sit beside somebody or ride a bus, in which I used to do that too part-time, drive charter buses part-time. And the guy that I used to work for, man, he's hurting, man. I mean, man, it's brand new buses. He's paying $10,000 a month per bus. Some of those buses, they're like $500,000-$700,000, man. Those luxury coaches, and he's absolutely hurting. And to have lost this much business and this much revenue over a 3-month span, man, it's got to kill anybody, just like it's killing us here in the trucking industry. Again, only thing that I can say is, you need to write your congressmen, senators, your governor, your lieutenant governor, and just let them know about everything that's going on in the trucking industry and how, a lot of things are unfair, and all the money that we shell out in order to basically have a job. Because, I mean, honestly, if you really thought about it, I mean, there's no pension for us. There's no real way of saying that we have a retirement plan. We just make a decent amount of money, good money, in order to live. And we sacrifice pensions and vacations and things of that nature so that we can make good money and move up. I mean, let's be honest about it. A lot of people don't have great educations in this field, but being that you may have a 10th grade, maybe a 12th grade education, you can live a middle-class life, a decent middle-class life where you own a home and cars and you live well and you don't have to live in poverty and, barely struggling to make it. But now it's gotten to the point where, you just don't know anymore. Is it really worth owning a truck and having all the frustrations of the business? I mean, paperwork, IFTA, DOT, tires, repairs, parking, I mean, maintenance, fuel. I mean, there's just so many different variables to all of this. I mean, even with me right now, man, and I keep saying it every time I make a video, I keep procrastinating on doing my taxes because it just entails so much with getting all my receipts together and figuring them out instead of me doing them as I get them and fill them out. But, you say you're going to do that every year, and then when time comes, the next thing you know, it's time to do the taxes again, or it's time to do your quarterly taxes, in which another thing I haven't done because, the money isn't there like it was before, where I could just sit down and say, okay, well, let me just write them a check and yada, yada, yada. Now I got to think about everything I do when it comes to the business. Do I forego this and maybe pay a $50 fine? Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Or do I pay for parking and wait for them to say, hey, where's our payment for the parking? I mean, there's a lot of things that you got to think about. Even with repairs, there might be something that needs to be repaired on your truck. And you're like, well, should I repair that? I mean, the truck's not making any money. I mean, here in the last 2 months, I probably spent, I want to say maybe $3,000 in repairs on my truck, and still got a few more that needs to be repaired. But on the interim of all of that, I'm not working. So is it really smart for me to go out here and do some more repairs that don't really need to be repaired? Or should I just let it stay that way until we figure out what's going to happen with the economy, what's going to happen in trucking, what's going to happen with us making money? Because obviously there's a problem in trucking. And for people to think that guys can run up and down the road and make no profit whatsoever to maintain their equipment and even pay for a simple subscription to an ELD. I just don't understand how people think that you're supposed to do that and you're supposed to eat all these costs and they keep all the money, because that's the bottom line, man. You cannot tell me that no shipper came to you during no pandemic and said, listen, I'm going to cut the rates because there are too many drivers sitting around. Nobody said that. What they said was, we need you to get our freight down the road as fast as you possibly can. Nobody called no broker back in to renegotiate no prices of freight. I just don't believe that. I just don't truly believe it, especially when you got them saying 3 different things about why the rate went down. So, I mean, don't say that. I'd rather you just say, we're not going to pay you. We're not going to pay you that kind of money because there's too many trucks out here, and we're just going to make as much money as we possibly can off your backs. I'd rather you say that to me than tell me a lie about, my customer cut the rates, or you got guys out here hauling freight for nothing, so that's why we keep the rates low, or, industry rate says from point A to point B, this is all we pay. Like I said, man, there's 3 different lies running out there. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. One thing about a truck driver, if you tell the truth, you could get a lot further. You tell the truth. If you got a bad load, hey, this is a bad load. I'm going to tell you right now. This is what it's paying. It's a bad load. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck here. It's going to take you a long time to deliver it. The guy's an a-hole. When you get to the delivery point, the spot is so tight that you're going to probably almost tear your truck up or knock your doors off on your trailer or whatever. Just be truthful. Truthfulness will go a long way with a truck driver. Because one thing I'll say is, you know what? That guy, he may not give me what I want all the time, but every time he tells me the truth, it's the truth. And I can deal with somebody that's gonna give it to me straight with no chaser. So, I'll never understand why people feel as though you gotta lie to a driver in order to make them or have them to do something for you. Because where one won't do it, another one will. Because there are guys that are willing to sit around and not make no money while they sit at a dock, or let me renegotiate what we just talked about in the rate con, where we can make this work, where if I go to that dock and you told me that I'm gonna have to sit there for 6 hours, okay, well, add another $250, $300 into the rate, or, do whatever you need to do to make it profitable, where I can't say anything but, hey, he told me and he gave me some extra money for sitting there. And that's all you ever gotta do with a truck driver. It's just be honest. People say sometimes that, people gravitate to me because I kind of like give it to you the way it is and the way it should be. And that's the only way I know, man. That's the only way I know. You're supposed to be a leader of men and women out here on this road. When you see somebody broke down or somebody in distress, you're supposed to be there to try to help them as much as you possibly can. I'm not saying go out and cause yourself great harm. But if you have the means of helping somebody out here on this road where it may not cost this driver, say $300, $400, $500, $600 for a service guy to come out and fix a problem with his truck, and you know how, and you got the time and the energy to do it, just help that driver out, man. Just help that driver out. I remember one time when I first got my truck, when I got out of the military, and I was going up to Erie, Pennsylvania. And man, my truck, it would run, then it cut off, or it would, flutter out. So I stopped, I got fuel filters put on, I checked the air filters, and the truck would run while I was there, man. And man, listen, the damn thing, it just would not run. So I had pulled over on the side of the highway. This guy with a truck followed me for 200 miles just to make sure that I got to 5-star, I think it was called 5-Star International up by Erie. And man, I got on the CB. I was like, look, driver, you don't have to stay behind me. I greatly appreciate. He's like, no, driver, I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm going to be right here with you, man. I'm going to make sure that you got there. And man, that's how trucking used to be back in the day when I started. And when I learned about what trucking was about, you had guys that would do stuff like that for you before they had the GPSs and all of that. CBs were the number one thing. Hey, anybody know how to get over to such and such town? Oh yeah, driver, get off exit 78, make a right turn, go 3 blocks, 2 lights, and make a left, and you're right there at the front door. That's how trucking used to be. Either that, or you would pull over and find a telephone, believe it or not. Find a telephone and call those people and ask how to get into their place of business, or the police. And then when you sat down, there was no Subways or these big Popeyes or fast food restaurants. Guys sat down at the restaurant, and in the restaurant, it had signs up there, drivers only. And drivers would go in, have their dinner. They had telephones on the side of the walls at the table, man. And you a big time guy then, man. You got the phone right there. You tell the waitress, hey, listen, I need a phone, and she'll bring a phone from the back with a jack and plug it in, and you're sitting there on the phone talking on the phone, man. It might be a collect phone call, but it was a call. And once you hung up with that phone call, man, you would hear guys talking shop. Talking about the industry, talking about DOT, talking about how to work on trucks and do different things in the trucking industry. And now, guys have gotten away from that. You get so many kids asking you questions on, well, how do I know what's a fair rate? How do I know how to load this or do that? Or should I ask my boss for this? Or should I ask for that? Listen, man. When you went into that restaurant, and there are still restaurants in some of these TAs and these Petros where guys actually sit down and have dinner. And when they're done having dinner, they sit around and they talk trucking, man. They talk trucking. And that's where the majority of you guys will learn how to be truck drivers, because you're hearing it firsthand. And if you got a question, you can ask right there, and they're going to answer your questions. And one thing about being face to face rather than on the internet, like most of us guys are, and you get 100 different answers. When you ask a question amongst a bunch of truck drivers at a restaurant eating dinner, if one of them try to BS you, there'll be 30 drivers that say he's full of crap. That's not the way it goes until you get the right answer. And then there'll be 29 guys that'll say, hey, listen, nah, that one guy's wrong. This is the way it goes. And then they'll break it down and explain it to you on how trucking goes, man. And like I said, this industry has gotten away from its grassroots of people being truck drivers and being for one another. I've been watching some of the posts of the guys up there in DC, and they were talking about the camaraderie, and they've never seen trucking like this, and guys loving one another, not in no sexual way, but they're loving one another, just being compassionate about the industry that we're in. And most of us got into this industry because we fell in love with trucks, and our dads were truck drivers, and that was just something that we always wanted to do. And I just listened to this guy the other night on a disrespected trucker. I forget his name. And he was talking about all the camaraderie up there in DC. And he thought that, you know, it wouldn't be this way. And when he got up there and he saw and felt all the love of truck drivers coming together for one common cause of trying to improve the trucking industry and get the rates right, man. Listen, man, it's a beautiful thing. Now, me personally, I was on that first wave. I was one of the first trucks up there in DC. I only stayed 2 days, but I originally convoyed up to DC, and we arrived and we protested and we blew horns. I walked up and down the streets. I made videos. I interviewed people. I had news stations interview me. I had an interview on the radio a couple of times. And I mean, it just makes you feel good to know that you're putting a positive spin on the trucking industry, man, when there's so many different people out here doing negative things to give the trucking industry a black eye. And, you know, I just want you guys to know that, you know, I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to this money thing and the trucking industry. I don't know if we'll ever get back what we lost. I know for one thing, there'll be a lot of guys that won't make it. It's just a fact. There's going to be guys that's not going to make it. There's going to be guys that's going to lose their trucks. There's going to be guys that's going to lose their authorities. There's even going to be some guys who may even lose their homes and cars and maybe even their families. But, you know, I'm not going to say that's trucking. And no, it's not bad business. It's a bad economy. It's a bad viral infection that's running throughout the country. It's not because somebody made a bad business deal. And for all the guys, like I had this guy yesterday. He works for FedEx. And he called me Harriet Tubman. He said, oh, you out here trying to be Harriet Tubman. No, I'm just trying to be a decent human being that's trying to figure this thing out and try to help these drivers to figure out what's going on, because sometimes the only thing people want to do is just hear a solution to a problem, not try to be Harriet Tubman. Oh, well, I got it. And this is what he told me. I have a job and I'm running up and down the road and I'm caking. Well, do you realize that there are a lot of people out of work, and that the people that are out of work, they're the ones who send packages, and FedEx takes a lot of packages. Now, just imagine if this thing lasts another week or two, you could be out of work too, and you could be right out here with all the rest of us drivers. Or if FedEx decides to say, you know what, let's start slashing the pay on some of these drivers so we can bring home more profit. Your ass will be right out here doing the same things that other drivers are out here doing, complaining about rates. Be careful about the people that you shit on, excuse my French, or look down on as you're going up in that elevator, because the same people you saw going up will be the same people you will see as your ass is sliding down on that slippery ass rope. Again, man, this is Trucker's Life, man, and I like to keep everything real and at 100%. If I don't know something, I'm not going to say it. If I do know something, I'm going to give my full opinion on it, whether it be right, whether it be wrong. But I will never tell you anything that's not true. Again, man, this is Trucker's Life. This is what I love to do. I'm going to catch you guys down the road. I pray and hope that everyone's family's together, that their business gets back on track, and that they start making money so that they can pay their bills. And I'm just praying that the United States of America gets back on track and the economy gets kicked in and going again, man, so that we can all get back to this great country that we all love. Hey, man, this is Trucker's Life. This is what I love to do. I'm going to catch you guys down the road. Woo-woo.